Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. We are so glad that you're here today. I'm flying solo today. It's just me. So here's what's going on. So tomorrow, I'm not in studio tomorrow. And so Chris and Rob are going to run the show solo. So I thought, well, you know what? If you guys are going to run the show solo tomorrow, I'm going to run the show solo today. Rob's going to join me a little bit later this afternoon for a play and chat open mic. I hope you guys will come back and join us for that. But yeah, so it's got me back there. We got Ray Orr's in the house. Jonathan Voico, of course, running the show. And beside him is a very excited Taylor Gonzalez, which there's a couple of reasons. We'll get to one of those in just a bit. And hey, guys, listen, a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, you can't be in front of a YouTube video. There's good news. There's an audio-only version of our show simply called the John Campea Show Podcast. Just jump onto your favorite podcasting app of choice, search for the John Campea Show, and subscribe to it today. All right. Got a bunch of things that we need to talk about here today, guys, and with a couple of off the tops, and we're going to start off our off the tops with this. You know, I got to say, one of the most pleasant surprise movies I've seen in the last 12 months is Puss in Boots. And I say that because, I mean, Taylor's already grinning like an idiot. I say that because I was not a fan of the first Puss in Boots. I mean, I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was absolutely terrible or anything like that, but I was not a big fan. And I love the Shrek universe. Like, I love the Shrek films and whatever, but then the trailers for Puss in Boots came out. And I was like, you know what? Because you guys know I'm not a cat guy, like F cats. I'm not a cat guy, but I saw that trailer. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. So then Ann and I go to see Puss in Boots. Absolutely loved it. It got a Best Animated Feature Academy Award over a couple of Pixar and Disney films, by the way, and looks great. Now, there's something that happens at the end of Puss in Boots that got me pretty excited, more excited than I thought I would get. Got me pretty excited and got the audience I was with excited. And that was, I won't tell you what it was specifically in case you haven't seen the movie, but there's a little bit of a hint of the wider Shrek universe. Now, this is important to keep in mind because I got a lot of people wondering, well, could they do another Shrek movie? Could they do another Shrek movie? Well, maybe they are, because according to the CEO of NBC Universal, Jeff Schnell, he's saying that Puss in Boots is just an entry point back into the Shrek universe. This is what he said specifically. He said, we're always looking for bolt-on acquisitions to bolster our business. And I'll give two examples, he says. We bought DreamWorks Animation, and it's been paying off steadily since our acquisition. And just now, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, which is a big hit at the box office, and really, here's the key words, and really our re-entry point back into the Shrek universe. Puss in Boots is a big hit, and really our entry back into the Shrek universe. And I will tell you why. Ray's laughing at me because I'm talking as if we're just talking about The Fabelmans is getting a sequel or something. Ray, don't you understand this is big deal? What are you laughing at this? This is the big deal.
Big deal Thursdays. Come on,
this
man.
Is big deal Thursdays.
We need to move on.
Here's the thing. This is fantastic. Because I'll tell you what, I am a big fan of the Shrek films. I don't love all of them. All right. There are a couple that are weaker than others. Shrek 2 is one of my favorite animated films of all time. Probably in my top 5. Maybe at the worst, top 6, top 7. I love that movie. And I've been yearning for, the idea of getting Michael Myers back and get Eddie Murphy back, get Cameron Diaz, who had retired. She's back. Taylor Princess Fiona is not retired anymore.
I know. I'm thrilled about this.
So, I mean, that opens the door for Fiona to come back, Donkey to come back. I mean, you can't bring back Jonathan Lithgow or anything like that. That's fine. Maybe they find a way to... What was his name of that? Farquaad?
Oh, yeah.
Farquaad. Oh, yeah. Bring him back.
Which Shrek would this be? They did 5?
This will be 5.
This would be 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they always say? 5 is the magic number. Ray says it all the time. Always walking around saying five's the magic number.
5 meals a day is the magic number.
So I'll tell you what, I love this because the film did well, getting Oscar consideration. I would love to see Shrek come back. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these guys that thinks keep making installments of franchises we like until we just run it into the ground. But I honestly think we've had a good long wait. I think there's a hunger, and it's not just Taylor. I think there's a hunger for more Shrek.
Oh, wow.
I think it would do well, and I would like to see it. And I hope he's not just blowing smoke up people's ass when he says this is our re-entry point back into the Shrek universe, and I hope they do. So, Taylor, I would be remiss if I didn't at least ask you what you think about what the CEO of NBC Universal just said.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, Jeff Shell is his name, I believe.
Yes.
Sir, what do you mean our re-entry point? We never left, or I never left. How much time do I have? First of all, my shrine to Shrek is paying off. I've got my painting. I didn't know about this till I got here, so I didn't bring this up with me.
No, that painting, I'm not kidding you. And this is not a brag. He has that in his office.
Yep.
He has that in his office every day.
The eyeballs follow you as you walk. I got my Puss. My little Puss. I got my Shrek out of the box for the first time ever. I'm just so excited for this. Was it yesterday? When were the Oscar nominees announced?
Tuesday, I think.
Time is an illusion now because of this news. Whenever that happened, you guys know I'm not good at math. The first thing I did was check my phone, and I had like 100 notifications, and I was like, oh no, like finally, something came out. One of my pictures, and so I checked, and it was just like everyone tagging me that Puss in Boots was nominated for Best Animated Feature. And I was like, oh, okay, whew. So I was like relieved by that. And that was the first time, John, I'll tell you, that I was relieved to have and excited to have notifications about Puss when I woke up
on my phone.
That nomination was well deserved. I really enjoyed that movie. It was really cute. Whatever they did there worked out perfectly. I don't know. I didn't see if Turning Red was nominated. It wasn't.
It did.
Right?
Turning Red also got nominated.
So as long as both of those were nominated, those were like two of my top animated films this year. So
yeah, very happy for them and happy to hear that we might get back into the Shrek universe. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Maybe you've never watched a Shrek movie. Maybe you think it's well past its shelf life. Maybe you're like me thinking, you know what? I think the ground is fertile and ripe for a return of the old Shrek. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into another off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. My third favorite DCEU film. But everybody knows my favorite one is Man of Steel. And then after that is James Gunn's Suicide Squad. But my third favorite, I love this film, DCEU film, was the first Shazam movie. Now, again, I always acknowledge this. I understand that I like this movie more than most people do. And that's okay. But it instantly won me over. It charmed me. I was grinning and smiling throughout the entire movie. My wife, Ann, and I both completely loved it. It's great. So obviously, I've been kind of excited about Shazam 2, The Fury of the Gods. And I am excited about it. But we talked about this on the show yesterday when the new poster dropped for Shazam 2, that while I'm naturally excited for Shazam 2, because I love the first one so much, the marketing campaign has not done anything to increase my excitement. Now everybody says, "Oh, John, there's been a couple of trailers. There's one that they showed us at CinemaCon. Granted, that didn't go out, but they showed us a trailer they made at CinemaCon back in April. Then they released another new one that was the first one in the public. So to me, we've had two trailers, and both of the trailers were, I mean, they're cute. It's good to see the Shazam family back. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, I think, are going to kick ass as on-screen antagonists. That's great. But listen, I said on the show yesterday, there ain't been nothing about these trailers that have increased my excitement for this. Like at all. Like every time a new Dungeons and Dragons trailer comes out, I get more and more hyped for that thing. I was a little bit skeptical at first, but every time they put a new trailer, I get more and more excited about it. I have not said that about the Shazam trailers because the Shazam trailers have been mediocre at best. Until today. Today's the day. I got a notification in my email from the studio saying we're dropping a new trailer in like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, if the other ones I've seen are any indication, it's just going to be another, there it is, a Shazam trailer. They finally got it right. They finally got it right. I sat down and was watching this trailer, and for the first time since they announced this movie, I found myself getting excited. I love the fact that with just one line, we got a much better idea about the general story. It's like, okay, the Daughters of Atlas. That's who Mirren and Lucy Liu are, right? The Daughters of Atlas, yeah. The Daughters of Atlas are, oh, okay, they're mad. Why are they mad? What's the point of all this? Oh, the wizard Shazam, to give powers to his champions, had to take it from their father? Okay. Now there's motivation. Now we have background. Now we have context. Now every time we see Helen Mirren say something scathing and angry at the kids, I get why. And then they up the action quota in this thing too. Like, okay, the last trailer, it's cute when he throws a bus at the dragon. Oh, I just threw a bus at a dragon. I love my life. It's a cute line. It's a cute line. Nothing wrong with that line. It's a good line. But to see Shazam hurl himself into the side of the dragon and ram it through a building and all that kind of stuff. And all I can hear is the Man of Steel haters going, he wasn't protecting the people of the city. Listen, you're going to fight a dragon, it's going to get dirty. But that even right up to the end, he's punching. Lucy Liu says, we end this now. And seeing Billy go, yeah, we do. And then like goes at her, ending the trailer with a big freaking Creed uppercut shot on the dragon. I don't care. Like, I have been thoroughly unimpressed with the Shazam trailers up until now. And this one, and I'm not, listen, the part of the reason I'm getting so excited is not because I think this is the greatest superhero trailer we've seen all year. It's not, but I'm just so excited that they finally delivered to us a legitimately really good trailer. This is the first time since the announcement that my excitement level for this movie's actually gone up. And it's been a result of this trailer. So Ray, you had a chance to take a look at it. I mean, Ray heard me hooting and hollering in my office, getting all excited watching this trailer.
I was like, I thought you were watching something else.
Yeah. And then he goes, all right, let's see how exaggerating you're making it. I know you saw the trailer. What did you think?
You know what? I got to give, it's a lesser character compared to the Trinity, right? The DC character.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the effects in it look great. Like, you would think they would not go all out on like a lesser character.
They look better than the first one did.
I really do like the suits, the new suits. They look great. I'm not as excited as you, John. I love this character, Shazam. There's just something about him being a little childish when he's the big Shazam. I get it. I know why.
Yeah.
But some of the animated movies, he's a lot smarter than that. Like, he's still a kid, but
correct me if I'm wrong. In the animated movies, they almost make it feel like when he turns into Shazam, he's suddenly an adult.
Right.
But
right. He still makes childish mistakes, as in when he goes into battle, he'll do the childish choice.
Right.
Like I'm just gonna punch him. No, there's a strategy against this guy, and he learns that from Superman when they're fighting Black Adam. There's a part of me where it's almost he feels like the same character, which kind of rubs me a little wrong, but I still enjoy the movie.
Like, there's no growth. There's no growth.
There's no growth. It seems like he's still like dumb when he's. I want to see that a little drastic change so I can separate the two, like Billy Batson and Shazam. And there's just still he's just a little too immature still.
Because the trailer starts off with him mentioning it hasn't been a few months; it's been a few years.
Yeah, but I do want some growth. So you do
expect to see a little bit more of that growth. Maybe we're just not getting into the trailer.
Yeah. Maybe that's just not the way they're going, which I respect.
I get that.
I'm not going to hate a movie because that's the way they choose to do the cinematic version. It's just in a way, it's just like with me, it's just like maybe I can't get into the character.
Well, because even by the time you get into what was the video game the fighting one, the DC Injustice. He's an adult, and then he becomes Shazam, but he's just stronger. But he's an adult, so he's mature in that. I mean, he doesn't last long either.
But I do like the trailer. It's great. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not as excited as you, but it's still me going to the theater and wanting to watch something says something. So that's
I don't know anybody's as excited as me for this. Yeah. now I'm like really super stoked. Anyway, guys, question is for you: did you have a chance to see the Shazam Fury of the Gods trailer? To me, and look, all due respect, if you've liked the other trailers and promotional spots they've shown, awesome. I'm glad about that. But they haven't worked for me. This is the first time it's actually worked for me. How do you guys feel about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. with that down, let's get into our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have a question for the show and you'd like to hear your voice on our show, by the way, a lot of people know this is actually Ryan Reynolds' personal phone number. It actually goes directly to his personal phone. Call it 951-268-4259. Ryan will then forward those messages on to me, and maybe you'll hear your voice on our show. All right. Today, somebody's writing in about Ant-Man, and is it going to be any good? Or more specifically, is anybody actually going to go see it? Check it out.
Hi, John and crew. This is Dante from Cincinnati. My question is regarding Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, pre-ticket sales, and how it's going to do overall, gross-wise. So I was a little bit late to the game in purchasing tickets. I just bought 2 today at 4:30 on Saturday, February the 18th, which is my 1-year anniversary, actually. So the theater was completely empty. I'm just curious because in my area, usually tickets go pretty quick for big MCU movies like this. I'm just wondering, how much do you think this movie will make opening weekend and overall? Because it doesn't seem like people are buying, out the theaters on opening weekend, at least right now in the pre-ticket sales. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, Dante, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, of course, the next big offering coming up for the MCU is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And, the Ant-Man films, we've talked a lot about this on the show, have kind of been, as Peyton Reed, the director of the Ant-Man film, says himself, the palate cleansers. They've been the palate cleansers of the franchise, right? And that is a very good thing. Because what the Ant-Man films have done is they've been the gear changes for the MCU. Because the MCU, and what it's falling into right now, is every single MCU story is about the universe is in peril, the universe is in peril, the universe is in peril, the universe is in peril. Oh, look, this one's about the universe being in peril too. And earlier in the MCU, they had the risk of falling into that, but they knew how to change gears. So, you'd have like the world is at risk, but then you have an Ant-Man movie where the character's just trying to save his family. Trying to get his life back on track, trying to save his family. This fact that the MCU would change gears like that was always beneficial, but it did sort of, in a lot of people's opinions, relegate Ant-Man to that idea of it being just a palate cleanser. But now it's different. Peyton Reed, we talked about this before, has come out and said, yeah, listen, I told him I didn't want my new Ant-Man movie to be a palate cleanser. I want the new Ant-Man to be an Avengers level kind of movie. So he talked about that. We've also had the situation going on that a lot of people still don't know what the MCU is even about right now. What was phase 4? What is phase 5? And Kevin Feige, has been coming out and saying that soon, my children, we will reveal what this has all been about up until now. Because right now, even some of the greatest minds in pop culture, like Robert Meyer Burnett and others, look at all the films of Phase 4 and say, I have no idea how any of this connects. So if you're one of those fans that feels that way, you're not alone. A lot of us have been like, how does this connect? And Ant-Man Quantumania seems to be maybe that project that's going to put all this that you see on screen here into some focus. That it's kind of the promises. This is going to be the one that kind of reveals how these all connect. Now, don't forget, Rob has a very interesting theory. Rob's really interesting theory is that every single one of the MCU movies we've seen in Phase 4 all happen in a different reality. Not one different reality, but like each different movie has happened in their own pocket universes of the multiverse. And we're going to find that out in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Maybe yes, maybe no. But it still begs the question, Avengers level film or not, is anybody going to go see this?
Yes.
Because it's still an Ant-Man movie, right? And the Ant-Man movies have not done, bonkers box office. Like they've been successful, 600 million plus. To put that into perspective, I'm not trying to beat up on Black Adam. I'm just trying to put it into perspective. But, the Ant-Man movies made like double what Black Adam did. So not exactly the highest of MCU standards, but still respectable. So what can we expect? Well, let's jump over here for a second. I love the fact we're going to do a little live experiment here. I love that you mentioned that in your theater, you got tickets and it was like empty. So I'm going to take a look at why can I not get the theater things to pop up? I can't select my theater. What's going on? Look at this. I scroll over it. The list comes up, but then once I scroll off of it, hold on a second. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go to my local theater, the Riverside AMC Tyler Galleria. And I'm going to get tickets. We're just running a lot. I have no idea how this is going to go. Live experiment. I'm going to go to February. That's the 6th, the 17th it opens, right?
The 17th.
Okay, I'm going to go to the Friday the 17th. There it is. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
You know you love 3D.
I am not getting tickets to 3D.
Dolby. Let's see what's in Dolby.
F3D. But yeah, we'll go to the popular. You know what? We'll even go to the popular time. We'll go to the Regal Cinema, Dolby, 7:30. Now remember, this movie does not open for another month. A little bit under a month, a little over 3 weeks away. So this movie is still a ways out.
I really need to watch Avatar. This tells me I really do
you really do need to watch Avatar.
Someone just said it's MODOK time.
So let's check it out. We'll click on 7:30. And what are we going to get?
All right.
It's pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
I mean, those front seats are always the ones that go last because they're obviously, but for everything else, I see a couple of singles. Okay. That's not bad. Let's see now that's the Dolby Cinema. Let's try not 3D, not open, this regular digital screen. Okay. We'll go for the 7 p.m. of just a regular screen in this AMC theater.
Oh, wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
Wow.
What time is it, though?
This is 7 p.m. on Friday night.
Now, did they just open that time slot?
Okay, Rob, that's a very good point you raise up. We're going to get to that in a second. So let's take a look at another one. Let's say that was the 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try the 8 p.m.
Guys, come on.
Hey, there's 4 people at the back there.
Oh, wow.
4 people at the back. Now, let's try this IMAX 3D. Is anybody, now this is only $3.15.
This is everybody.
People are at work, though.
Oh.
So there's that. We'll see the IMAX non-3D. We'll go 6:30 p.m. It's starting to fill in a bit there.
I think we could still do a ticket watch then.
It could be, it could just be then that it's just like so far off.
Oh, wait, that's the thing. It's
still,
a
month away.
Look, while Peyton Reed can call this an Avengers level film,
yeah,
it's still Ant-Man, right? Which is not their biggest blockbuster franchise. It's not. It's a very good franchise, but it's not their biggest blockbuster. Now, I expect opening night will be all sold out by the time we get there. So then that brings us over to this. What should our expectations be for Ant-Man and the Wasp? I'm going to peg that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is going to open with 110 million. That's what I'm pegging it as. Which, I mean, is nothing compared to like Doctor Strange's, what was it, 181?
I can check for you.
I think Doctor Strange was 181. It's nothing compared to, Black Panther, I got it up now. Black Panther Wakanda Forever was 181. Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness was 185. So nowhere near that. Even Thor Love and Thunder got like 144. But Ant-Man is not as big of a character as Thor is. He's not as big of a character as Black Panther. He's not as big of a character as Doctor Strange. So I think if it can, now, that 110 million is actually pretty good when you realize that the first Ant-Man made 57 mil on its opening weekend. And then the second Ant-Man made, the 76 million.
Yeah.
Right?
That's pretty big.
So what we're seeing here is if this comes true, and by the way, Box Office Pro is projecting that the opening weekend for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania to be anywhere between 100 million and 130 million. I'm going to peg it at about the 110. So I'm going to go a little bit in the middle there. But even if it does come in at 110, we're seeing that trajectory, right? We're always talking about that's what the producers and studios want to see in these franchise films. They want to see a trajectory that does this. We've gone from 57 million, 76 million, and then if we can come out at Quantumania at 110 million. And I think Marvel and Disney will ultimately be cool with that. I think they'll ultimately be cool with that because they got to understand, like, look, if an idiot like me understands that, look, we cannot go into this expecting Iron Man numbers. We can't go into an Ant-Man film expecting Thor numbers. Assuming that Marvel is at least as smart and probably several multitudes smarter than me, they understand this as well. And I think if this thing does come in at 110, it'll be good. So again, remember, this isn't like it's 2 days before the movie opens and we're looking at these things and finding empty seats everywhere. let's run this. Try to remind me, guys, let's run this little exercise again the week of release, and we'll see how much more it's filling out. But that's where I think it's coming in. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? How big of an opening do you think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to be? I'm pegging it at about 110. Do you think that that's way too conservative? Do you think it's going to way well beyond that? Do you think I'm being too optimistic that it's going to be way below that? Have you tried getting your tickets? Have you had any problems? This is why when people said you should do a ticket watch for Ant-Man, I'm like, Ant-Man ain't going to be crashing any ticket sites. I don't think we need to do ticket watch for it.
We're still doing it.
We're still doing it. What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, we're going to get into our main topics here. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank my mobile service provider, the sponsors of the Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day, our friends at Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save money this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton, with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Guys, I have told you before that when I was on one of the major phone carriers, I was spending literally 3 times as much every month, and switching to Mint Mobile couldn't have been easier. So for people just looking to save some extra money this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in just minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for saving me tons of money, being a great mobile service provider, but most importantly, for being a sponsor of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you go down to the description of this video, you'll find links to all of our sponsors and their promo codes. And thank you again to Mint Mobile. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics? Well, that's simple. You guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you'll see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Jonathan, what's our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Eric D, who writes, "Hey John, big fan. Did you see recent comments from a Hulu exec that there hasn't been any movement on the Orville season 4? I was a bit nervous when they made the jump over to Hulu, but damn, I thought this latest season was a banger. It completely worked for me, and I've been waiting for news of a 4th season for a while. Do you think we'll ever get one?"
All right, Eric, thanks a lot for sending that in. And you know what? The Orville was an interesting petri dish of a show experiment. It really was. Now, listen, I'm a big fan of Seth MacFarlane. I think the dude is outrageously funny. I even thought he did a pretty decent job the year he hosted the Oscars. Remember that? Yeah, most people don't. I thought he did a pretty good job with that.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was good.
And the one comedy of his that everybody bags on him for, A Million Ways to Die in the West, it has its moments, man. That movie has its moments. And Family Guy, Family Guy's a little hit and miss, but man, when Family Guy hits, it hits. So here he comes along with the Orville. And it was 70% just blatant Star Trek ripoff. And let's say 60% pure Star Trek ripoff, 40% spoof comedy, right? So they obviously couldn't get the rights to Star Trek to make their own Star Trek show. So they just made their own Star Trek show, but didn't call it Star Trek. But it's exactly like Star Trek, except that it was mostly spoof comedy. And I enjoyed the show. Like some other stuff, it was a little hit and miss, but when it hit, it was really good. Bortus, I really love that character. I love that character a lot. So it was a little hit and miss, but I enjoyed it. I watched all of it, especially once they got into their Kalon stuff. once they got into the Kalon Wars and everything like that, that worked for me. That was quite good. Now they got into the new season. Their season that was no longer on Fox and it was going to be on Hulu. And they completely changed the show. Because what was like 40 or 50% spoof comedy, it quickly became 3% spoof comedy. The first episode of the new season, for those of you guys who don't watch Orville, the first episode of the newest season starts with this episode about suicide, which is not something you came to expect from Orville. Now, they went from 60% Star Trek ripoff to about 95% Star Trek ripoff. I mean, they weren't even trying to pretend anymore. We're just a Star Trek show with anything but we're just not calling it the Federation. What did they call it? The Union?
I think it is the Union.
The Union, the Galactic Union, or whatever it was. And they went in there. But I'll tell you what, it had a couple of weak episodes in there, and I wasn't big on the finale. But overall, even though it was a pure Star Trek ripoff by the end, it was a Star Trek ripoff that worked. And I was actually quite enjoying the show. And when it ended, it really did. I remember when I watched the season finale, I thought, like with the wedding, I remember thinking this felt like a series finale. Like it felt like it was over. But I kept having people tell me, no, they're going to do another one. They're going to do another one. Well, Orville fans may have gotten some unfortunate news, as the president of Hulu Originals just came out and he was asked directly when and how are we getting an Orville season 4? And the head of Hulu Originals said this: we don't have anything to share right now. It's a great show. I know the fans loved having it back in their lives. Notice how he's speaking in past tense? I know the fans loved having it back in their lives, and Seth MacFarlane did a great job, uniquely as he can, in front and behind the camera, but we don't have anything to share right now. Now, look, this is not a de facto definitive statement saying there's not going to be a season 4, but I don't know. Like, Jonathan, I don't know about you, but I'm reading this, and it certainly sounds like he's implying that they don't have, like, he didn't even tag anything on there about, hey, as soon as we've got something to share, we'll let you know. Or no, it was just, hey, we know the fans loved having it back.
Yeah, we gave it a great run.
Like if you're reading this cold right now, Jonathan, you're reading this cold. Does this sound to you like we're going to get a season 4?
No, did a great job. He's congratulating everyone. That's a pat on the back, and we're moving on. That's a soft exit, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like, tell me this show is done without telling me the show is done. And that sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
Taylor, did you watch I almost call it Galaxy Quest. Did you watch the Orville?
Yeah, as soon as they added it to Disney Plus, I binged it because I wanted to watch it when it was on Fox, but I don't have like cable network. I don't have like, a standard TV thing. So as soon as they added it to Disney Plus, I was binging it. I made it halfway through the latest season and I was loving it. Some of the episodes just really dive into such like serious things, but yeah, you're right. At the beginning, it was like mainly comedy, and that's when I was really liking it. Then this latest season, what I loved about it was so cinematic compared to the first few seasons. Like the opening shots, just I thought it was improving at least. Yeah,
the opening shot of the new season with the flashbacking to the day of the Kalon attack, and that was like really, really good.
Yeah, I still have about half of the current season to get through, but I got distracted by You on Netflix. I've been binging that. That's just so fun. But I'm bummed because I want more. I'm loving it. I was late to the game, but hopefully.
No, but you guys enjoyed having it, right? So you had it.
No, I want
you guys
more.
Enjoyed having it.
I feel like there is a really big fan base for it too.
Pat on the back. You guys enjoyed it.
Yep. You guys loved it, but we got nothing to share. I don't know, guys. To me, it sounds like they're saying that the Orville is done, but to keep that one little glimmer of hope alive. He didn't specifically say it's done. I don't know. I'm interpreting that it's over. What do you guys think? You read the comment. You heard what he had to say. Does it sound like you think there's a chance for a season 4? Is this the end of the line? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.
Okay, before you go on, can I ask Jonathan, did someone hurt you today?
Well... No, man.
All right, guys.
I've been given the soft sell in the past from corporations. I know what that sounds like.
With that down, let's get into our second main topic here today, shall we? Jonathan, what is our second main topic?
All right. Second main topic comes from Belted Earth 3, who writes, "Hi, John and crew. I love watching the show and try to make it part of my daily routine. I just saw an article posted by Screen Rant that claimed that DC's Titans and Doom Patrol are the latest to get the axe at HBO Max. Is this all surprising to any of you, or is this all part of the greater DC reboot? And could we see them possibly return at a later date with the new slate of content we are set to get?"
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, listen, the axe of Zaslav fears no man, nor does it have mercy for any man, including me. I love Doom Patrol. That was such... Now, Doom Patrol came out in the same kind of season, if you will, as two other similar yet vastly unique shows, The Boys and Umbrella Academy. And these three shows, for me, for a while, represented the best of superhero content on television. They all took the classic superhero tropes and genres and turned it on its ear in its own unique way for each and every one of them. Like Umbrella Academy is very different from The Boys. The Boys is very different from Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is very different from Umbrella Academy, and so on and so forth. Doom Patrol, to me, though, did the best job of taking HBO heavy adult drama issues and wrapping them in a Cartoon Network wrapper of bonkersness and utter ridiculousness while served on an adult plate. All right? It took the best of HBO adult themes, put it into a Cartoon Network bonkers wrapper, and served it up on a very adult plate. And when I say adult, I mean like filthy. They put it up on a real filthy plate. But the funny thing is the bonkersness of it never compromised the incredible deep issues and drama. Like the whole stuff with Larry throughout the thing, there were several major story arcs with Larry. He's the one wrapped up in the mummy bandages there. Like everything from how he lost his family, about, then stuff trying to deal with his father and that sort of stuff. And then Robot and the finding out his daughter's grown up. And then even Cyborg, which I thought at first was probably going to be the weakest character of the show. He turns out to be fascinating. It just, all of them. It's such great character work, great dialogue, great issues, while wrapped in a show where a guy flexes the wrong muscle and an entire city instantly has an orgasm. That's the type of show that Doom Patrol
that we're looking for. Oh.
Yeah. That's the type of show Doom Patrol was. And, I had a lot of people write to me because, I am a supporter of the axe of Zaslav. I think the axing is necessary for the long-term health of WB. I really do. I think there's a lot of short-sighted people out there. So how does it feel, though, Campea, when it's your show that gets the axe? You know what? I get it, and I'm okay with it. Look, the reality is no matter how much I loved this show, not a ton of people watched it. I mean, I never would often come across like new people and stuff like that. I would get into conversations, and if whenever I brought up, you watch Doom Patrol, a lot of people would look at me like they didn't even know what I was talking about. Like, forget watch the show. A lot of people have never even heard of the show. And Rob brings this up a lot. As seasons progress, actors' salaries get higher and higher and higher. They always, and that's understandable. They should. It's like, okay, well, we're more important to the show. Like every year that passes and I'm on the show, I'm more important to the show. Salaries got to go up. And pretty soon you hit a tipping point where the expense of the show doesn't make sense to keep moving forward with it. Now, one of the things I should point out here is that understandably, a lot of people who are fans of Doom Patrol, and by the way, another show got canceled, vastly inferior show called Titans. But Titans and Doom Patrol got canceled. And Titans has its fan base and Doom Patrol has its fan base. So a lot of people who are fans of Doom Patrol and Titans, understandably, got a little miffed at James Gunn, the head of DC, right? But James Gunn, we can go to my screen on this. James Gunn hopped on social media to let people know, because I'll read the bottom part first. Somebody wrote to James Gunn, with Doom Patrol and Titans officially ending due to the new direction of James Gunn and Peter Safran, all the fans can say is good luck. It's a mighty big hill you have to climb to win the majority of fans over who enjoyed shows and movies. I'll be kicking my feet up and waiting. Now, James Gunn pointed something out here, which, again, I think it's understandable that people got upset at first, but he says, look, the decision, this is James Gunn speaking, the decision to end the series, both Titans and Doom Patrol, precedes us. But I certainly wish the best for the talented group of creators, actors, and the rest of the crew that produced both shows. Look, we had heard a while ago, and we talked about on the show a while ago, that we had heard rumblings, and this is going back months. We had heard rumblings that Doom Patrol this was the last season. They were going to be done. And it was sad and whatever, but we got it. So it's really not a surprise to hear James Gunn saying, look, the decision that Titans and Doom Patrol are ending, this is before we ever got here. And I think part of that was Warner Brothers Discovery maybe trying to clear the decks for whoever the new leaders of the new DC franchise and the DC properties was going to come in, that they could have as much of a clean slate as possible to build something up and what have you. But again, even if it had been James Gunn's decision, as a big fan of Doom Patrol, all I can say is this: thank you for making this show. I can't believe anybody made this show. And if you watched Doom Patrol, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I still can't believe anybody actually read the treatment of this, heard the pitch, and get, yeah, let's finance that. Yeah, let's make that a show. I can't believe anybody actually did it.
Oddly enough, same goes for Titans.
And the same goes for Titans, only more understandably
the inverse of that.
Fuck Batman! Anyway, so for me at this point, as a fan, as a huge fan of the show, I'm just feeling grateful. Guys, you gave us seasons of a show that most networks never would have even touched. And it comes to an end, and I get it. Doesn't have the viewership, doesn't have the legs. I get it. But you stuck with this show for a number of seasons, and I'll probably every couple of years, I'll probably go back and do a rewatch of the show. That's how much I liked it. So kind of a bummer, but yeah, as a big fan, people say, what do you got to say now, Campea? Now the Doom Patrol's getting, all I can say is thank you. I just feel a sense of gratitude.
Every time these shows come up, the only thing I could think about was one I was disappointed when I heard it was canceled was the new Swamp Thing. Did you ever see it?
Well, yeah, they canceled that show. Here's the thing with Swamp Thing.
And I actually liked it.
They canceled the show after the first episode. Like that is a case study of horrible management and leadership. Look, the thing with Swamp Thing was, if you had internally made the decision that, look, we're not going to do any more of this show, why would you hamstring the show by making a public announcement after just the first episode came out? Wait until the season's over. Because I'll tell you what, the reason I was really late, Ray, that's a great point you bring up. The reason I was really late to watching Swamp Thing was because the first episode came out. I didn't have a chance to watch it yet. And then I heard, oh, by the way, show's been canceled. They're gonna air the rest of the episodes, but it's canceled. And I was like, well, okay.
I watched it at your place too.
That's right.
In Burbank.
That's right.
I was like, John, you need to watch this first episode. It's pretty good.
And it is.
Yeah.
This only episode. It's pretty good.
No, I don't think it was. No, they played the whole season.
Yeah, they
aired the whole season. But it's like, I'll never understand that. But something like Doom Patrol, they gave it seasons. And seasons of a show that I don't think anybody else would have had the testicular fortitude to make. So yeah, today I'm just feeling grateful.
One last thing, like Swamp Thing seemed like it would be effects heavy too, though. It could have been an expensive show.
It could have been, but when we watched it, I felt like they probably minimized the expense. I mean, it could have been a show that would get real expensive real fast, but I guess they just didn't like it. I don't know. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? My beloved Doom Patrol, some other people's beloved Titans, has now been canceled. They had their runs, though, more runs than I would have thought either of those shows would have gotten. What do you think about this? And James Gunn saying, hey, listen, these decisions to cancel those were made long before we even got here. Whatever you think about it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? What do we got up next, Jonathan?
All right, next up, we've got Alex here who writes, "Greetings and salutations, John and crew. Just read on Variety that Stranger Things ended up being the #1 most watched show on TV for the entire year. It's amazing to me just how popular this weird little show has gotten. Do you think there's any chance that they could decide to continue the show further than they planned with this huge success it's having? Thanks, and bring on the filthy."
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, listen, the numbers have come in. It's not just the top show, but also the top movies of the year that streamed, came out last year in 2022, have now been revealed. And the success of Stranger Things is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who wrote the following. The Upside Down took the #1 position on Nielsen's 2022 streaming chart. Netflix's blockbuster Stranger Things, led by the release of the 4th season, was the most streamed TV show and overall program in the US last year. The sci-fi hit series ran up that hill. That's clever. The sci-fi hit series ran up that hill to register a whopping 52 billion minutes streamed in 2022. That is the highest since the COVID-driven lockdowns drove audiences to watch 57.1 billion minutes of NBC's The Office. So didn't quite crack that Office record, but still the #1 show watching. Now, as we go over to, we'll go over to my thing here, the top 15 streaming originals. #1, Stranger Things, but here's the gasp-inducing, stunning number. Number of minutes viewed, 52 billion. Look what's in second for originals. Ozark at 31 billion.
Yeah.
The gap between 1 and 2 here is staggering.
Yeah, it halves, and then it halves again for Wednesday.
Yeah, and then we go down to Wednesday.
Yeah, then it compresses.
And then down to Cobra Kai.
Your favorite.
My favorite.
Yeah, I like it.
But here's the thing. Bridgerton, Virgin River, which I have no idea what that is. Dahmer, which was huge. Love is Blind, Inventing Anna, and The Crown. Well, I'll point this out.
We're up Virgin River without a paddle.
10. All 10 of the top 10 streamed original shows are Netflix.
I gotta ask something.
Okay.
Does views count as just clicking on? Because I see a lot of those clicks on Virgin River going, oh, that's not what I thought it was.
No, remember, the number's not clicks. It's number of minutes.
Okay.
Minutes viewed. Number of minutes viewed. Now, at number 11 is when the first non-Netflix thing kicks in as The Beloved, The Boys. How cool is that to see The Boys up there that high? Then a show I have still never watched, The Great British Baking Show. Everybody tells me it's great. Then My Beloved, The Umbrella Academy. Then The Last Kingdom. And then Rings of Power got up there, outpacing a couple of the other ones. But again, in the top 16, 14 of them are Netflix shows. Now, that's all really, really interesting. We can talk about that. But when you go to overall, not just original programming, look what number 2 was. NCIS.
Yeah.
I am constantly floored by how much we underestimate how many people watch these effing NCIS Toledo and NCIS Bogota.
There's a new one called NCIS Virgin River coming out.
What's the crime there?
Yeah.
What are the crimes committed there, Taylor?
Someone's up in here.
Drinking your drink.
We'll get him. We'll
I heard it's
stop
very
him.
dry.
You know, a lot of those views are probably...
It's really dry.
Oh, no.
A lot of those views are probably from me because I usually leave the TV on. And when I wake up, it's usually one of those shows.
NCIS. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean NCIS, and then number 3 is this Coco Melon, which sounds like it's a spin-off of Virgin River. I guess
like up Taylor's alley right there.
it's some kind of kid show. I think it is.
Terrible.
But listen to these other ones. Talk about the power of catalog material. Look at some of the other ones in this. The number 6 biggest thing was Grey's Anatomy. Criminal Minds. Ray, you'll like this. Bluey.
Yeah.
Bluey, the number 8.
Represent.
Freaking Gilmore Girls. Seinfeld. Supernatural. I love seeing that at number 11. Wednesday, Heartland, Cobra Kai, The Simpsons. Now, let's go over to the streaming movies. There's a couple of really surprising things to me here about streaming movies. Number 1, by a mile, Encanto. It ain't close. Like the Stranger Things phenomenon, we've got 27 billion minutes watched, and the number 2, which was Turning Red, is less than half that number. Less than half. That's how wide of a margin. This is the classic example, and it's not often, but every once in a while you hear people say, it'll find its audience later on home video and whatever. That 99% of the time, that never actually happens. But with Encanto, which didn't do great at the box office, by the way, it comes out and absolutely dominates the streaming thing. The number 2 thing was my favorite animated film of the year with Turning Red. But look at the difference between 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's just a couple of billion minutes as opposed to the big jump. Anyway, Turning Red at number 2, Sing 2 at number 3, Moana. Everybody's still loving You're Welcome with Moana at number 4. The number 1 live action streamed movie of the year was Ryan Reynolds' The Adam Project. Hey, well done, Adam. Well done for Adam Project. Well done. Next up, we had Hocus Pocus 2, another live action. Then Don't Look Up, another live action. Then we got Frozen, Luca, The Gray Man came in at number 10. Zootopia, Coco, Eternals. This is the surprising one to me. The number 1 Marvel MCU movie streamed this year was Eternals, which I thought was pretty interesting. Then, of course, Frozen 2 and Ray.
Yep.
Number 15, Uncharted.
Numbers don't lie, baby. Numbers don't lie.
Ray in there with his Uncharted love. So, there are some really, really interesting numbers. But again, man, don't underestimate that Stranger Things, man. And their decision this year to split up the season, which I think is a precursor. Again, I think it's still a couple of years down the line, but we're getting there as a precursor to when they just make week by week episode releases. But I think their decision to split it up this year had a lot to do with that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What of these numbers, some really crazy numbers here, stands out to you as being the most surprising? What things could you totally call? What do you think about these lists? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4 here, shall we? Jonathan, what's our 4th main topic today?
All right, we got Joe C., who writes, "Hey guys, I read an article in Variety this week regarding Kevin Feige believing superhero fatigue will likely never set in with audiences and that the genre will continue to prosper. I love Marvel, but I firmly believe DC has always had the better characters and storylines. With a rebooted DC universe, I would hate for audiences to get tired of the genre and not follow along with the characters I've loved over the next 8 to 10 years. Do you believe Kevin's statement?"
All right, Joe, thanks a lot for sending that in. And listen, going back all the way, for those of you who watched us this long, all the way back to the days of AMC and the converted closet days of AMC that we used to work out of, I still remember back then. That's what we're talking about now, Ray, a decade ago, 12 years ago, whatever.
That's when I started working with Jonathan for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's when you started working with me for the first time, too. I still remember, I still got the picture. You know what? I came across that picture the other day of when we were first moving into the new Yes, that's right. I've got a picture. I got to see if I can find it, but I got a picture.
Oh, don't do it.
Ray
with my skirt shorts.
with that was an interesting fashion choice. It was bold. Bold fashion choice.
That was before I started making, money.
So Ray, I got this picture of Ray as we were first taking over the converted closet at the AMC Burbank 16 to make our AMC offices. There's a picture of Ray doing the first vacuum of the place, trying to get ready to move in. But going all the way back there, I still remember on one of our original AMC shows talking about when's the comic book movie fatigue going to come in. This is like over a decade ago. And it feels like every single year. Well, comic book fatigue is setting in now. Then the next year comes. Comic book fatigue is setting in now. Then the next year, comic book fatigue is setting in now. Meanwhile, billion-dollar film after billion-dollar film after billion-dollar film after billion-dollar film. Pandemic notwithstanding. But with the pandemic, we had a Spider-Man film that nearly cracked the $2 billion club. Came close. So there's always this question about fatigue. Here's the thing. We've been getting asked this question for a decade, and yet we're still here. Well, Kevin Feige was kind of asked about that, and he gave, I thought, a really, really good answer.
He said, "You feel lucky, punk."
You feel lucky? Jonathan was saying before the show started today, he goes, "Is it just me, or does every picture of Kevin Feige look like he's about to kill you?" And I mean, that's actually not far off. He's actually a very nice guy.
He's the man who knocks.
Yeah, he's I'm the one who knocks.
Yeah.
All right. Movie. Now I'm going to read this a little bit at length because I think it's pretty interesting. But this is in Variety. Will moviegoers ever get superhero fatigue? Marvel boss Kevin Feige doesn't buy it, saying on a new podcast interview that there are 80 years of groundbreaking stories told in the Marvel comics that can be adapted into different genres. And this, Kevin Feige said this. I've been at Marvel Studios for over 22 years, and most of us here at Marvel Studios have been around a decade or longer together, Feige said on the Movie Business Podcast. From probably my second year at Marvel, people have been asking, well, how long is this going to last? Is it a fad of comic book movies? When is this fad going to change? And Feige continued, I didn't really understand the question because to me, it was akin to saying after Gone with the Wind, well, how many more movies can be made off of novels? Do you think the audience will sour on movies being adapted from books? You would never ask that because there's an inherent understanding among most people that a book can be anything. A novel can have any type of story whatsoever. So it all depends on what story you're translating. Non-comic readers don't understand that it's the same thing in comics. There are 80 years of the most interesting, emotional, groundbreaking stories that have been told in the Marvel comics, and it is our great privilege to be able to take what we have and adapt them, he said. Another way to do that is adapting them into different genres and what makes movies, the type of movies we want to make. And then he goes on and talks more about that. And Kevin Feige is 100% right. There never will be comic book movie fatigue. What can happen is bad movie fatigue. That can happen. I still remember as the comic book genre was starting to get rolling, we're going all the way back now to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Batman movie. And I remember that movie came out.
Everybody chill.
Chill. Not only did it kill the Batman franchise, it killed comic book movies for a beat. I mean, that thing killed the comic book because we were getting bad comic book movies. People didn't get tired of comic book movies. They got tired of bad movies. And for well over a decade now, in what we call the golden era now, we are in the golden era of comic book movies. We have not seen that set in, and we won't. Why? Because while there has been the odd stinker here and there, for the most part, comic book movies have continued to deliver entertainment. And they've continued to engaging the audience. They've continued to expanding people's imaginations. They continue to give great experiences at the movie theater. And even if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of these movies are very different types of genre. We often talk about Captain America Civil War or Captain America Winter Soldier, I should say, is a 1970s style political thriller.
Right.
You get some that are straight up heist movies. You get some that are closer to straight up dramas. You get some that are closer to, they can all widely vary in a lot of different ways. And as you go outside of just Marvel and you start talking about incorporating DC and then some of the other types of comic book fare we've gotten as well, they're very, very different. But even if it wasn't for that, I don't have a scientific study in front of me, but in the last 10 years, let's just go 10. How many cop shows have there been? How many medical-based dramas have there been? How many NCIS, what's the one with what's NCIS, CIS, Special Victims Booty, I don't know, whatever it's called.
That's the pirate one.
That's the pirate, Special Victims. I mean, how many of those have there been? And yet we just saw on that chart that the single most watched thing in the world, other than Stranger Things, is a fucking NCIS.
It's a peaceful life, John.
It's a peaceful life. It's a peaceful life. So, I mean, so where Grey's Anatomy was on that list. How many freaking medical shows are there? How many shows we got? Even right now, we got Grey's Anatomy's on the air. We got Chicago Med. I think there's one or two others just right now. So, yeah, Ray.
I'm telling you right now, the superhero fatigue, I went through something like that after Endgame, and I still think I'm going through it. But I wouldn't say it's like something that affects me going to watch a movie. I mean, I'm not excited for a lot of the superhero movies coming out just because Endgame took so much out of me. Like, I felt that way. Like, Shang-Chi, I watched because, you know, you wanted us to watch it, so I went along. But I haven't started a conversation about a superhero movie in a long time, which is when you know I'm excited about something. And I'm looking at this list that they got coming up. We got Guardians and whatever. I think if anyone's going to bring me back to fold like I was before Endgame and throughout that whole 10 years, it's going to be Blade. This thing.
I mean, Blade's got a lot of people excited too. But to your point, like even with Endgame, because I made a video about this after Endgame, it's that I don't believe it's a matter of superhero fatigue, but Endgame was such a crescendo.
Yep.
Like it was the big finale. It was the grand finale of what the MCU had been for 10 years, or over 10 years. And it wasn't about comic book movies. It was about this one story, and it came to this incredible climax. And like a type of climax would make you go, how the hell do you ever top that? And it was kind of the sense that, okay, it's done. And that's when I made a video that's still up on the channel that was like, okay, here are the challenges Marvel's going to face now. Because with that crescendo happening, but it wasn't specifically, I don't believe, comic book movie fatigue. The audiences, and the latest Spider-Man movie made $1.9 billion. I think as long as you keep making interesting films and interesting shows, and as long as they don't get into a big long streak where we go like 2 years straight where all the comic book content that's been coming out has been crap, in which case it'll get killed pretty quick. But even then it'll come back at some point. I agree with Kevin Feige. I do not believe we're ever going to see straight up comic book movie fatigue.
And look what they did with the Rocky franchise.
Yes.
I thought I was done after how many? 6? I like most of the Rocky movies. Then they turned it into something else.
They evolve.
Yes.
Right? And as long as you continue to evolve and bring something new to the table, then I think you're always going to keep audiences interested. So
franchises will fall by the wayside, but the genre, no.
Yeah, yes. Franchises will come and go, but the genre itself, as long as they keep making good stuff, I don't see it going anywhere. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Kevin Feige says, yeah, listen, I've been making Marvel films for 22 years now, and everybody keeps asking me when's comic book movie fatigue can come in. I've been doing this job for well over a decade, and every year I'm asked about this, and yet here we still are. What do you think about his comments? Whatever you think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we are now going to open up the super chats to take your live comments and questions. If you've got a thought, theory, opinion, or a question that you'd like us to address here, go ahead and fire that in. Do it rather quickly, though, because we only keep the super chats open for just a couple of minutes. Now, before we get to those, though, we want to take a second and thank a couple more sponsors of our show here today. A couple of my favorites, our friends at Manscaped, and of course, the wonderful folks at MasterClass. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code Campea for 20% off and free shipping. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. You also get the beard shampoo and conditioner. Because guys, you gotta remember that all of your hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair on your head. Next, the kit has Manscaped's beard oil. The oil relieves dryness dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath. You then cap it off with the Beard Balm that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 special gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code Campea. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the very top of their fields. Each class is broken out into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes long. And MasterClass is completely accessible on your phone, the web, smart TV, and available via audio mode to listen to classes on the go. They have over 2,500 video lessons from over 180 of today's most brilliant minds. They're all available anytime, anywhere on iOS, Android, desktop, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Now, obviously, around here on the John Campea Show, we love our movies, so why not learn filmmaking from Jodie Foster, or maybe directing from Ron Howard himself, or the great Neil Gaiman doing his masterclass on the art of storytelling. And you guys have heard me talk about my favorite masterclass, Business Strategy and Leadership by Big Papa Iger himself, Bob Iger, the new and returning CEO of Disney. Guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. This holiday, give the perfect gift of an annual Masterclass membership and get one free. Go to masterclass.com/Campea today. That's masterclass.com/Campea. Terms apply. And we're back. And I was thinking about something else. Thank you to our friends at MasterClass and Manscaped for being sponsors.
I did count down.
Today, you did count down. I was like totally absorbed. I was somewhere else. Thank you so much for being back here, guys. And guys, once again, thank you to our sponsors. And make sure you do go and check them out, because once again, when you do support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into the super chats you guys have been firing in here. So, Jonathan, what do we got up?
Just charting my cruise on Virgin River there. All right, we got, let me come down here a little bit. We've got Josh Becker. Did you see the Oscars and The Last of Us finale are the same night?
Oh,
no.
What?
Well, I know what I'm watching. The finale. That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. Wow.
Well, what time does the Oscars start locally? I think it starts at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah. No,
us, right?
I think 7, right? Red carpet's like 5 or 6.
Because it's usually over at like 11. So I'm thinking...
Just watch it after.
It
It's
says
not
5
like you gotta...
p.m.
Maybe they'll have intermission in the
5 to
Oscars
8.
so people could watch.
5 to 8? Like Pacific or Eastern time?
Oh.
That has to be Pacific.
Math.
I think that's probably probably
It
Eastern.
says that the ceremony is set to begin at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
So the
that's Pacific.
5 o'clock is probably the red carpet. all the
Okay, so you know
interviews,
what? Because Last of Us drops at 6, right?
Yeah, but it's not like it's like on a channel and then it's done and gone. It's like it's streaming.
Yeah, but I
so-
mean, even theoretically speaking, I can sit down, watch Last of Us at 6, and then when it's done, flip over to the Oscars and still catch the Oscars in time for it to start. Because I ain't waiting until midnight to watch the Last of Us finale.
That could be the greatest night of your life, John.
That could be the greatest viewing nights of my life. All right, I'm down for it. All right, what's next?
All right, next we got Cody Hunt, who writes, I could have swore that Tess was played by Carrie Coon in The Last of Us. Carrie is the lead actress in The Leftovers. Her and Anna Torv are identical. Wow.
I have heard a number of people say that exact same thing. Now, I'm not as familiar with their work. I didn't watch The Leftovers. But I've heard a number of people say that. It's kind of funny because you know what it reminds me of? What was that little horror movie? I know Taylor will know this off the top of his head. The one where the girl is marrying into this family, but the family has to sacrifice somebody every year.
You're talking about the one with Samara Weaving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, me included, that Samara Weaving was Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Ready or Not. Yeah.
Ready or Not. That's it. By the way, fun little movie. If you never saw Ready or Not.
Did you see that Margot Robbie and Samara Weaving showed up to the Babylon premiere wearing the same color dress and almost the same hairstyle? And it's like everyone already thinks they're the same person. And I saw the picture side by side and I was like,
did they coordinate?
I don't think so. I think it was just like an accident.
I hope they coordinated.
That is so
because that'd be
funny, though.
hilarious. Because a lot of people thought, anyway, interesting thought on that. All right, what's next?
All right, next up we've got A. Marcellus who writes, I'm using the audio feature to type this message because after watching the latest Gotham Knights trailer, I got eye cancer. Oh, I hope you get better. But seriously, how the hell did they greenlight this?
I can't. Has Aaron said anything on the show?
No.
Okay, then we won't say anything.
Why? Say it now.
Okay, then we won't say anything. All right. So I saw that. Look, Misha Collins, who of course is from Supernatural. Castiel, I love him in that show. So after Supernatural came to end, I had no worries about Jensen Ackles, about Padalecki. No worries about them at all. They were going to be fine. But I wondered what's Misha Collins going to do, and then I saw that he got to this big lead role, and this guy, oh my God! And then the trailer played. I'm like, this feels like a joke. This feels like somebody's pulling a joke on us because I don't know that I've ever seen a show that looks as bad as this one does. And now the show might be great. We talked a lot about the fact that trailers aren't made by the same people, so whatever. Maybe the show will be great, but I'm telling you, I don't know that I've ever seen a show that looks worse than this one does. So we'll find out. All right, what's next?
All right, Stolben McShave is next. They write, happy that the Critical Role Gangs, or happy about the Critical Role Gangs' new deal with Amazon. Can't wait for the start of the series based on their second campaign and possibly even movies.
Yeah, so for those who didn't hear, Critical Role, who's got their show Vox Machina on Amazon right now, which, by the way, they just started season 2, and it's great. I really, really enjoy Vox Machina. I'm super happy for them that they now have this extended deal. But Ann and I were talking this morning because Ann and I both watch Vox Machina, and we're actually a little bit bummed out because we've gotten connected to these characters in Vox Machina. And I understand it was based on one of their campaigns, and now they have another campaign where it's all different characters. Now they're going to base it on. I get that. I totally do. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I understand that. But I'm not going to lie. I feel a little bummed because I'm interested in seeing season 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Vox Machina. I'm not, right now, where I'm sitting today, I'm not really interested in seeing their new campaign. I've gotten attached to these characters. Mm-hmm. I want to see these guys go. So, and I'm sure it's going to be great, and I'm sure I'll get totally on board with it once it starts, and I am totally happy for them. That's fantastic. But yeah, moral of the story, guys, watch Vox Machina. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, what's next?
All right, next up we've got Leonardo Guillen, who writes, totally forgot that there's an upcoming Fallout TV show from the Westworld co-creators, Jonathan Nolan, Lisa Joy. Side note, I was today years old when I realized he's Christopher Nolan's younger brother.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They've written, I mean, he worked with him on the Batman scripts. He worked with him on those things too, and the story for those. I don't know that I've heard that was in development. I can't remember hearing if it was actually given the green light and it's going to go into production, or maybe I haven't. Have any of you guys
heard
of this thing?
You know who would know? Dennis would
completely know. You know what? I don't have my phone with me. Text Dennis right now. Me, Ray, and Dennis have a little
just be like
UFC MMA thread on our texts all the time. Those of you who've watched me for a long time, you know who Dennis is. So yeah, text Dennis and see where we are in that, and then let us know. All right, what's next?
All right. Dante Serecchia writes, new weekly segment, Named Critical Stroll. Oh, okay. Named Critical Stroll. Roll 2d10 dice at the end of Friday's show. The number rolled is a Rotten Tomatoes score. Pick a film with that score for Monday and stroll down memory lane.
That's not a terrible. That's not the
Critical
worst
stroll.
idea for a
All
segment
right.
I've heard. Critical roll or critical stroll.
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually. Roll the 2d10, find a movie that matches that score. That's actually pretty fun. I like that. I'll keep that in mind. All right, what's next?
All right, Peter Cunnington writes, the MCU could get into trouble if they try to connect every movie and every TV show, and you have to watch 5 things to understand one movie. Well, I feel like they did get into trouble a little bit.
Well, yeah, look, we've been talking for a long time about that. The fact that one of the reasons that Marvel has blown up is not just because they make great content. That's the most important thing. But because Kevin Feige's had a philosophy that every single new Marvel property should be a perfectly valid entry point for a new fan. So when a Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, somebody can just see that, be interested in it, and watch it, and not feel like they're lost in the MCU, or they have to go back to the beginning and watch everything before they watch it. It is getting a little bit convoluted now. And we saw our first signs of that with Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, because if you did not watch WandaVision, you were probably going, what's going on? When you went into that movie. And that's the first time I think that's ever really happened. Here's hoping they can avoid that. All right, what's next?
All right, Josh Becker writes, 65 also had a new trailer today.
Which one is 65?
That's the Adam Driver dinosaur movie.
Oh, that's
that movie
right.
Looks great.
That dropped a new trailer?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was here. I think it was like an international trailer.
But it would still be online, right?
Yeah. But I haven't seen the new trailer yet, but I am dying to see this movie. It looks like so much fun.
I'll tell you what, that first trailer came out of nowhere. It caught me totally by surprise. I really liked it. So we'll see. All right, thanks for putting that on my radar, man. I'm going to check that out later. All right, what's next?
All right, Jasmine Jones writes, you guys didn't read my super chat on Tuesday. Did you guys see the video of the Four Town voice actors perform live? It's on YouTube. They sounded good. Also, Sandra Oh just being a fangirl in the audience.
So Four Town is the fictional band in Turning Red that there's 5 of them. It makes no sense. Is the boy band in Turning Red that, I kid you not, my wife bought the soundtrack. My wife just played for a good 3 weeks. All Ann did was play Four Town songs. Yes. I got to look up that video.
Me too.
Taylor, if you can find that for me and then show it to me later, I got to see that. That's having Sandra because she was the grandmother, right? She was the mom, right? She was the main character's mom, I think.
I haven't seen Turning Red.
I think she was the mom.
Yeah, I think Sandra was the mom. I could be mistaken about that. But the fact that she's fangirling, that's awesome. I got to check that out. All right, what's next?
All right, up next we've got Dr. Stinky. I laughed because it was all one word. Think Ant-Man will make 140 opening? I mean, I don't.
I think 110, but here's the thing. That's not too far outside of where Box Office Pro is projecting. They're projecting anywhere from 100 to 130. So, but remember too, we're more than 3 weeks out, right? As we get closer, we'll start to get a better kind of grip of, and didn't they say that there was when did they say that the final Ant-Man trailer would drop? I think there was some talk about that. I can't remember if it was whatever, but let's get a little bit closer. We'll see. But the 140 may not be outside of the realm of possibility, even though I'm guessing 110. All right, what's next?
All right, Dildar writes, just started Battlestar Galactica. It's amazing. I don't know why this part's amazing, but I saw a baby's neck get snapped. That was crazy, though. I was like, I can't believe they went there.
Just when...
I actually got pissed. I was like, are you kidding me?
6? Is that who Trisha...
I think
Trisha Helfler, who ended up playing Lucifer's mom in one of my favorite shows, Lucifer. But I think she was number 6. Anyway, yeah, that time when she reaches in, cooing the baby and just snaps the baby's neck.
And then you hear the mom screaming.
And yeah, later, as she's walking away, and it's like, what the hell? Listen, Battlestar Galactica is my all-time favorite show. My number 1 all-time favorite show. 2 and 3 swapping orders back and forth is Sons of Anarchy and Spartacus, but that Battlestar Galactica is my absolute all-time favorite show.
From what I'm reading, it seems like we did get the final trailer. That was the last trailer.
Was that the final trailer?
Yeah.
That's weird that the film was still a month away when the final trailer came out. You and I have to make a bet that there's going to be a new trailer. I actually, yeah. But I think they will. I think they'll put out one more trailer.
To talk seriously about this movie, I think it's going to make its money from word of mouth. Like me, I'm not really excited to see it opening night. I skipped the last Ant-Man just because, I was going through that little thing of, so I think this movie, if it's good, it's going to make the bulk of its money throughout its release. Right. Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right, James Wheeler writes, hello, everyone. In Oscar history, 5 movies have won Best Picture and not nominated for Director. Grand Hotel, Driving Miss Daisy, Argo, Green Book, and Coda.
Wait, Green Book? The director did not get nominated for Best Director. Or Coda. Interesting. I didn't realize that happened. I remember when it came out with Argo, that one was really surprising me when we look back at the ones, but I didn't realize Green Book didn't get things. So only 5 times. In history, but it's happened a couple of times. I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can think something is the best movie of the year. Because the Best Picture means everything got brought together.
But not even nominate.
Perfectly. And yet the person most responsible for bringing everything together perfectly isn't on your nominee list. And I get it because it's different people doing different voting. And so that can happen. I think it says something that's only happened because which Oscars is this? The 85th, the 95th?
95th.
This is the 95th. So it's only happened about 7% of the time that you get a Best Picture winner that didn't nominate the Best. But I still don't understand how that happens. I don't get how that happens. Anyway, I get how a Best Picture nominee cannot have a director nominated because you got 10 Best Picture nominees, but only 5 Best Director nominees. But how does a film win Best Director without its director even being nominated? That one will always confuse me a bit.
Somehow I didn't even realize that Green Book won in 2019.
Oh yeah, I did. And I was actually, you know what? Everybody acts surprised when Green Book won. But I remember the show we did after the Academy Awards and everybody's like, shocked, well, where did that come from? And we sat down, guys, this entire awards season, Green Book, Green Book, Green Book, Green Book, Green Book. Didn't win all of it, but it had a number of huge, big, significant wins leading up to the Oscar. I'm like, why are you acting all surprised that it won Best? I love the movie. I think it's fantastic. All right, what's next?
All right, Dumbledore writes, but it makes me laugh when you start chuckling. Bought WBD stocks at $8.99 each, and now it's almost $15. Be careful, it's coming up to its upper limit.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Once it started to become clear that the moves they're making are working, you were going to see the stock go up. Now, I am no stock expert. It's going to, like Jonathan said, it's going to hit a limit at some point. We're still like 2 years away. Got to understand, we are still about 2 years away from seeing the impact of the rule of Zaslav and all that is actually going to have, because right now, all we're seeing is what's being axed. We aren't seeing what's being created, and we're not really going to get our taste of that for a couple more years. But I think that's a great success that you had. I'm glad you basically doubled your money. All right, what's next?
All right, Mr. Godzilla writes, I love Doom Patrol, and I am sad to see it go. I just hope that the final episode actually helps end the series. No cliffhangers, please.
Here's the thing. Other than the previous season, which ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, I feel like they can do that fairly easily, especially if they knew there was uncertainty going into, like with there being uncertainty about another season. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. And even if it was, fine, whatever. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Suthius. The only recent superhero project that I felt somewhat fatigued was Jupiter's Legacy, not because of how the show was, but I just didn't care about any of the characters. For me, that's important.
Jupiter's Legacy was a show that in principle had a lot of potential. I thought the cast was terrific. I mean, I really do like Josh Duhamel, and I really like Leslie Bibb. And so you had a terrific cast. I like the basic foundations of what their mythology was. But you nailed it. They never, ever made us care about the characters. And I'm not, you don't have to make them all likable. You can have unlikable characters that you really get attached to. I mean, just look at Succession. That's a show of assholes. But we get really connected to those characters. By the way, you see they announced the release date for the new season of Succession?
That was the
Oh
show.
yeah, the trailer's lit.
And the new trailer's really good. I forgot, I meant to do that as an off the top today. Forgot about that. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Let's start the show over. But it just, they never got you to care about the characters, and it just stayed too superficial for too long. And I fatigued on the show pretty damn quick. I did finish it out of willpower, but you're right, it just never worked. All right, what's next?
All right, Al Renshaw writes, I thought Shazam trailer was average at best and didn't do anything to raise my excitement. Previous trailer was better.
I mean, listen, this is the great thing about the art, is that it all hits us in different ways. I've had people write to me and say, John, how come you don't like the Shazam trailer? We thought it was really good. I'm like, for me, it did nothing. But this one I thought was easily, like by multiple factors, much, much better than the previous spots they put out. I thought it was great. It's the first time I got more excited. But again, as a piece of art, it's going to hit us all in different ways. And if it hit you differently than it hit me, that's great. That's what this stuff should do. That's what art should do. So I'm glad for that. All right, what's next?
All right. Chi11 Monger writes, shouldn't all films of quality in a calendar year have equal consideration for the Oscars? Why does releasing in close proximity to the award show matter? Why can studios campaign if we're awarding excellence in film?
And by the way, Chillmonger sent in a $20
$20
super chat. Thank you so much for that, man. Appreciate that. Okay, so here's the thing. They all do get equal consideration. The reason a lot of studios will, if they believe they have a film that has a serious chance of being an Oscar contender, The reason they will put it out closer to the end of the year is because then they can take advantage of the Oscar buzz to sell more tickets. It's a financial decision. So, like, because what's one of the nominees that just like Fabelmans or something like that, right? They're hoping that Fabelmans will get more people interested in running out to the theaters seeing it, or any of the other ones as well. So it's not a matter of, well, you got to be closer to when the awards are happening or else the awards voters will forget about you. I know some people say that. That's not true.
No, because you get screeners.
It's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
It's a purely marketing thing that if we get a Best Picture nomination, that will give us free publicity, big positive pop, and history has shown that it does that. Movies that made very little money but that were incredible films suddenly got big boosts going into Oscar season. So that's the primary reason there for that. Anyway, great question. Thanks for sending that in, and thank you so much for supporting us on that level, man. All right, what's next?
All right, Stubble McShave writes, interesting, Andor, House of the Dragon, and Peacemaker weren't on lists.
Yep. And which was really interesting. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but that The Lord of the Rings was on that list and House of the Dragon wasn't. Now, so I don't know if there are some caveats there, but it said it included HBO Max shows and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting those weren't on there. Again, still huge. Remember too, though, these shows we're talking about, there's a huge swath of shows and who knows, but it was interesting that those weren't on the list.
I mean, it's by hours, so it could be that it's people didn't rewatch those things. They watched it through once, but didn't rewatch.
Yeah, like House of the Dragon was only how many episodes?
9.
9 episodes.
Or 10. 9.
Peacemaker was, I believe, in the single digits number of episodes. So there's only so many hours to be watched. So I don't know, maybe that had something to do with it.
And plus, The Lord of the Rings seemed very family friendly compared to those other shows, right?
More family friendly than say like House of the Dragon was.
Yeah.
House of the Dragon, which was clearly the better show. I mean, The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power was my most anticipated show for the last couple of years. But I knew House of the Dragon would be good, but House of the Dragon was clearly the better show.
I mean,
but maybe the family friendly nature of it had a lot to do with it. All right, what's next?
All right, where are we? Dumbledore writes, it's awesome that Everything Everywhere All at Once is leading the Oscars with the most nominations. It's like they're going for every Oscar, every category, all at once.
Which, by the way, with 11 nominations, you might have to fact check this. I cannot remember the last time a single film had 11 nominations. Now, I'm sure there have been some since. The last one I remember getting a full 11 nominations, and I'm sure there have been a couple since, but was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Had 11 nominations. But here's the thing. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King swept. Never been done before. Swept all 11 categories it was nominated for. It won every single one of them. That's not going to happen with Everything Everywhere All at Once this year, but it does have a shot at that Best Picture. I still think it's going to be Fabelmans, but I think Everything All at Once has got a lot of momentum right now. What did you find out?
So I found a list of 26 films that had 11 Oscar nominations.
What was the most recent one?
They're not in order of the year, but Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, The Godfather, Saving Private Ryan, The Godfather Part 2, Amadeus, Joker, West Side
Joker
Story.
had 11.
Joker would be the most recent.
Joker had
2019,
11.
yeah. West Side Story, the original. But you know what I was just going to mention, since we're on the topic of Everything Everywhere All at Once, is that the Daniels on their joint Twitter account this morning announced that it's going to come back to theaters. It's going to be in 1,400 theaters this weekend to celebrate its 11 Oscar nominations.
Going back to the previous question, because it just got a huge bit of publicity and pop for getting Oscar nominations.
Mm-hmm.
So, and look, they never thought this movie was going to get Oscar nominations when they first put it out. That's why it was put out when it was. But they're going to take advantage of it.
I actually started watching it the other night, but...
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. So I'm going to try to finish it this weekend.
All right. All right, what's next?
All right, Dante Serecchia writes, thanks for taking my Mint Mobile voicemail.
Oh, hey, no problem, man. It was a really good question. Glad you called it in.
Cincinnati, baby.
All right, what's next?
All right, and Al Renshaw is back. Gunn keeps saying that more info is coming in January about new DC slate. When do you think you should expect some?
Well, it's January 26th, within the next 5 days. Unless James Gunn is a dirty, dirty, filthy liar. Uh-oh.
Watch that it's tomorrow when you're not on the show.
Yeah, it's probably coming tomorrow night.
The last time you weren't here, we got the Indiana Jones trailer. We got the Transformers trailer.
I know. Man of Steel. Henry Cavill calls in the mobile hotline.
Henry Cavill calls. Yeah, I will be sending James Gunn a strongly worded message if he breaks this tomorrow, but probably will. Look, because what day is the 31st? So I'm gonna look this up for you.
Just that thought just makes me laugh.
31st is next Tuesday.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess Monday or Tuesday.
You're hoping.
I'm hoping, but look, I don't think
Tuesday,
a lot of people.
11:59.
I've had people writing to me and saying, "Well, if they're gonna do it by the end of January, don't they have to announce the event or something like that?" I don't think James Gunn is going to be doing any kind of special event. I think he's going to do what he's been doing, which he's going to use Twitter as his communication tool, and I think he's just going to tweet it out.
And wasn't it just the first half of their plan?
He didn't even say first half. He said a couple of things.
Oh, okay.
Not the whole
Not the
plan.
whole thing. So,
But I think he's going to be announcing 2 movies. I think one of them will be Superman.
Green Lantern?
No. I think Green Lantern's coming, but I don't think it'll be a part of this first. So soon, within the next 5 days at least.
Superman and what?
Lobo.
Lobo. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Superman and Lobo. That's my guess. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Fredo.
Fredo!
Right. Thoughts on Power Slap? Whack. And the whole Dana situation and the release of Francis.
I mean, look, with Francis Ngannou, who was the heavyweight champion, scary, scary, scary dude. Although Stipe Miocic did beat him, and they needed to have a third fight. But heavyweight champion of the UFC, his contract had run out. He was the reigning heavyweight champion. They couldn't come to a deal. Apparently, Dana White said publicly that they made Francis Ngannou an offer that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in UFC history, which would have broken the record currently held by Brock Lesnar. And I guess Francis thought he was worth more. I have no qualms with anybody who thinks they are worth more and not willing to take less than what they think they're worth. So he walked. So we're probably going to see Francis end up in Bellator.
And what do you think about the Power Slap thing?
I think it's a joke.
It's not for me.
It's stupid.
It's just like, I'm a big boxing fan. You can defend yourself in that sport.
Yeah.
Sitting there, it's almost like the guy that throws knives at the guy who's spinning on the wheel. Except there's more chance of a guy dying from the power slap than from that guy throwing the...
Because that's the thing. The power slap thing is just idiotic. I mean, if it was truly slapping, that would be one thing. But these guys, they're not hitting with... Like, when I think of a slap, I think of this part of your hand up doing... Right? They hit you with this.
Yeah.
They hit you, and that is hard.
That's concussive.
And you just stand there. You see the guys, their entire faces drooping.
I can't even watch it.
It's idiotic. Like, and this is coming from a guy, I love orchestrated violence.
Okay, I got a text from Dennis.
All right, what Dennis
says, I believe they started shooting it. It's from people who did Westworld.
Right, which we knew that. But so, according to Dennis Zen, so blame him if this is wrong. According to Dennis Zen, breaking news, Dennis Zen just confirmed that they're shooting Fallout
and he said, why did you guys leave me? Help. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
All right. What's next?
Okay, Ray. A. Marcellus writes, I'm glad Titans is ending, except for Dick Grayson. Almost everyone was miscast. Lane Glenn was not a Bruce Wayne to me. He sounded like Alfred.
I just couldn't. I mean, I tried. Look, first of all, the marketing for Titans when it first started was idiotic. Look, Batman. It's like, oh my God, look how edgy we are. And then, but you know what? I was going to give it a shot. I started watching it. I watched the whole first season, and I was immediately on board because the very first shot of episode 1, I'm looking at the TV screen. Very first, as the camera comes up, it's my hometown. It's Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Oh. And then I went and looked. I said, that looks like a Hamilton bus. And I'm like, looked it up. Titan shot in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'm like, all right, I'm going to love this show. I didn't love the show.
Did they even bring Batman in there?
Later, well, they brought the guy who played, who was the guy from Game of Thrones that loved the Mother of Dragons, but he was just her bodyguard, and he ended up dying in her arms in the finale. Mormont?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He was Mormont, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who ended up getting grayscales and stuff like that. So he came in as Bruce Wayne. Okay. I watched a couple of episodes after season 1 just to see that. I never saw him as Batman. I don't know if he ever did put on the cape and cowl. I have no idea. But the show just didn't work for me, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
All right, Christopher Brickner writes, Eternals is the most streamed MCU film because No Way Home isn't on a streaming service.
But that's a guess. Eternals was one of those things where a lot of people got turned on to it once it hit streaming.
Yep.
And sometimes things like Encanto, right? Encanto was not big in the movie theaters. It wasn't big it didn't actually do all that well in movie theaters, but word got out and then all of a sudden became big. Like, I'm not saying that more people love Eternals and love No Way Home. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't jump the gun and saying, well, this would have done that had it been there. We don't know that. I'm just saying we don't know, because that list had a lot of surprises on it. And that might have been one of the ones that would surprise you too. But you never know, maybe it would have. All right, what's next?
All right, ninth, Shinigami writes, wouldn't say I have hero fatigue after a year of reading, watching My Hero, One Punch Man, Invincible, and The Boys. Just had some MCU fatigue.
I mean, listen, I could get MCU fatigue. If, again, you're coming off of Endgame, a lot of people watching the MCU and like, I don't understand how any of this connects to me. I don't care about how it connects. I couldn't give a shit about how it connects. I just like sitting down to a movie, show me a good movie. And phase 4 has been the weakest of the phases. It just has. They've had some great things in it, some absolutely great things that I love, but they've had more questionable things in it than all 3 of the other phases have combined. So I can totally see that. It's all about whether the stuff gets good. See, because when it's firing on all cylinders, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe is firing on all cylinders, ain't nobody getting fatigue. But when it's questionable, yeah, I could see getting a little tired of it. All right, what's next?
All right, direct from Virgin River, DJ Stevie 69. Hey, just wanted to pipe in and say thanks for everything, and I find it hilarious. Everyone is blaming James Gunn for everything when he hasn't made anything yet. Fine.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're gonna get people. There's a look. I am somebody who loved certain things about the DCEU, but I'm sorry, but you've got your head in the sand. If you don't acknowledge that the DCEU was viewed by the general movie-going public as the second-class citizen compared to Marvel, and it wasn't going to change by just keeping everything the same. Nobody loved Henry Cavill as Superman more than me. Nobody did. You might think you do, you don't. I loved Henry Cavill's Superman. I loved his Superman. I loved him in the movies that they were in. I liked every single, except for Birds of Prey. I didn't like Birds of Prey, but I've liked every single DCU movie, all that kind of stuff. But your head is in the sand if you don't acknowledge that to the general movie-going audience, DC was perceived as a second-class citizen. It was. And it's not going to change unless you change things up. But keep this, but keep this, but keep this, but keep this. Okay, so you're just satisfied. No, keep being mediocre. Keep getting mediocre results compared to Marvel. Keep being compared to Marvel as the second-class citizen. Keep looking like that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Then keep everything the same. Go ahead. You got to change things up. The definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing but expecting different results. And the results for the DCEU compared, and you can say it's fair or unfair, but it's always going to be compared to Marvel's results. The results of the DCU have been vastly laughable compared to the results that the MCU has got. And I say this as a fan. You got to change things up.
Maybe that's why I don't have a girlfriend. So I'm going to take that advice. I'm going to change things up.
I'm going to make you a Tinder account.
I should be married by next week.
I keep going to the 7-Eleven and I keep whistling at everybody and I still don't have a girlfriend. Maybe change it up.
When did we go away with whistling? I thought that always worked.
Oh my God. I want to make Ray a Tinder account so bad.
All right, what's next?
Jasmine Jones writes, Lance Reddick and Toby Stevens star as Percy Jackson, Zeus, and Poseidon in the Percy Jackson series.
Lance Reddick, really? That's interesting. I'll tell you what, I always did like the casting in the old Percy Jackson ones. Logan Lerman was great. You had why am I forgetting the actor's name? He was in Goldeneye. He was the villain in Goldeneye. And he's in Lord of the Rings. Why am I forgetting the actor's name? What's that?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, thank you.
He was 006.
Sean Bean was in Percy Jackson.
Did he die? Because he's literally died in everything.
He dies in everything. All right, what's next?
All right, Manny Garcia writes, I didn't like Shazam 1. I was able to watch Shazam 2 in preview screening, and it was great. I agree marketing wasn't doing it justice.
Well, that's interesting, though. I didn't even know they had done any previews. When does Shazam Fear of the Gods come out, by the way? I don't even know the release date. What's that?
I'm looking it up right now.
March 17th.
Okay, so it's not far away. I guess they could be doing some preview screenings right now. Okay, good to know. I'm glad you enjoy it. It excites me. It excites me even more to hear from somebody who didn't like the first movie that does like the second one. Like if you were to hear from me who was a big fan of the first one, say, man, I really like the second one. Okay, but I was already a fan of the franchise. That's kind of interesting for me to hear. Thank you for that. All right, what's next?
All right, Luke Batman 0707 writes, hey guys, did you guys know that the actor who played Riddler in the Batman wrote his own comic book series called Riddler?
I think it's supposed to be year one.
Mm-hmm. Now, are we talking about
Paul Dano,
the guy who played the Riddler in the original Adam West Batman thing? Or are you talking about Paul Dano?
Paul Dano had a comic come out
that he wrote called Riddler Year One.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
I didn't end up getting a chance to check it out because the comic book I go to, they were sold out when I went to go get it. But I'm really interested. If anyone has read it, I'm interested to hear what
I can't remember. Did Dano get a Best Actor nomination for Fabelmans?
No.
He didn't.
I was bummed. Yeah.
He was in the running.
Oh, man, it looks like it just based on this picture here. Let me bring it up for you on the
Yeah,
tip.
I love Dano. Oh, really?
And it looks like it must have been, done through the movies because it's the same Riddler character.
Tied in.
But at least he got a writing credit on
So I guess he's writing his origin story.
Yeah.
He was great in the Fabelmans.
He's so good
I
in
didn't show
Fabelmans.
any emotion in that movie until his parts. And
Did he kill anyone with a
know?
carpet remover?
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, next up we've got Jake from State Farm. Hey, John, with the success of The Last of Us, do you think PlayStation Studios should adapt more games like God of War? Rest in peace, Uncharted. Well, I mean...
Hooray.
Well, okay. Wait. Okay. The whole reason... Bring up the question again. I want to look at the specific wording.
Well, you're in trouble, Jake.
Uh-oh.
You're in trouble, Jake.
Bring up the Campea classroom.
Okay, here's the thing, Jake. PlayStation Studios exists to make adaptations of games. That's why they exist. So do I think they will make more adaptations of games? Yes. God of War, by the way, is coming out. They partnered up with Amazon on that one. So that's coming out.
John Travolta's in it. He's playing the Kratos.
John Travolta, Ben Stiller, LeBron
Stiller,
James.
yeah.
I saw that was a trailer, right?
Yeah.
But imagine all the things they can tap into. They got that Jack. What's Jack and the robot? The robot in
Jack and the Robot.
What?
It's like Jake and the
I love Jack and the Robot. What are you talking
Jake and the
about?
Batman in the 80s, and there's Jack and the Robot now.
Jack and Daxter. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I've
You
never
put
heard
yourself out there, Ray. You should have had the info.
Well, yeah.
And hey, make no mistake, they're going to make another Uncharted because at the end of the day, Uncharted actually made them some money.
Ratchet and Clank. That's what it was called.
Jack and
Jack
Barry.
and Daxter.
Everybody knows the old Jack and Barry show.
Jacking off.
All right, what's next?
Just jumped the shark. Cosmics. So happy that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is being celebrated at the Oscars this year with 5 nominations.
Yeah, did it get 5? Yeah, obviously the big one that it got was for Best Supporting Actress, and she's going to win. I mean, she's going to win that. I don't know. I mean, it didn't get nominated for costume design, did it?
It did.
It did get nominated for
Yes.
costume design. Okay,
Yeah,
because
and-
it won the first one.
Yes. Ruth Carter won for the original Black Panther, and then she got nominated again this time.
By the way, on the John Campea
Yeah.
YouTube channel right now, go down to our playlist called Designing Hollywood, and you can see our interview with Ruth Carter. Rob did a great interview with her for Designing Hollywood. Go and check that out. By the way, we got some great interviews coming up on Designing Hollywood. We got the designer and I think the cinematographer for Last of Us is coming on here soon. We're also we have the costume designer for Ant-Man Quantumania coming on. We got some great people coming up. All right, what's next?
All right, next up we've got Mr. Tidy Whitey. Do you think a small King clip at the end of Endgame would have helped with the direction of MCU?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
King.
Oh, Kang
Kang
clip.
clip. No. I just thought it would. That probably just would have been confusing to people. I don't think that probably would have done anything. It's just that would be to me that's the definition of a really bad post-credit scene. It's like, to me, the post-credit should also somehow tie in what has happened. So, no, even if you had a Kang clip at the end there, I don't think it would have given any more clarity to where we are with phase 4 and now in phase 5. And I think they wanted it that way. Oddly as that sounds, I think they probably wanted it that way. All right, what's next?
Well, Jermaine King says Hallmark would have no viewers if fatigue existed.
You know what? I meant today, and I totally forgot. I wanted to pull together an image of, maybe you can find one, an image of all the Hallmark Christmas special movies, like all of them. They're all the same. They're all the same. And I remember Jimmy Fallon got on, I think, whatever streaming service carries the Hallmark and whatever movies, and he read the synopsis for each one, and every single one started with "Sparks fly." There we go. That was the picture that I wanted to get. If fatigue of any kind of movie was going to happen, this would be it.
Man, that guy has a life, that graphic designer there.
It's
like, pop him in.
And every single one, when Jimmy Fallon was reading off the synopsis, the description of the movie, it always started with "Sparks fly when a something and something." Next one, "Sparks fly when something." It's all the same. Copy and paste. No. Yeah. By the way, keep this up here. If anybody is missing any white people,
oh my God,
I think they've all been gathered up for the Hallmark Christmas special movie photo shoot.
Well, they switched it up here. This one's in Rome.
Oh, that one's in Rome.
Yeah,
but again,
fancy.
If you find in your neighborhood any white people are missing, they're probably off at the Hallmark photo shoot.
That's
where they seem to be.
Magic.
All right, what's next?
They're like, "How'd you meet your wife?" Oh, that's odd. Funny story.
You asked that.
All right. Tyler Welch writes, after Captain Marvel 2, there will be a 10-month break between the next movie.
Yeah, somebody wrote that in a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, well, that can't be right. And then we sat down, we looked at the release schedule, and it's like, yeah, we got nearly a year-long break.
Is that even shows? I haven't looked.
I don't know. Listen, I gotta believe they are not going to have that big of a break. That something is, whether it's a couple of shows or something, they're going to announce something, because I just can't believe they're going to have a hiatus that goes that long. They got it. There's no way I think Disney would allow them to have a hiatus that long. But I mean, I think that's as it stands right now. All right, what's next?
All right, well, next up is Mr. Godzilla. Someone pointed out that 65 has a new trailer. Could this movie help get new dino films that are not related to Jurassic Park off the ground?
I think look, we always got to be careful as fans that whenever a movie comes out with something and we go, oh, can now more movies about that something happen? And look, it's so different and so unique. I don't think 65, regardless of how good or bad it is going to be a catalyst for the era of the dino genre. I think it'll all depend on the movie itself. And by the way, I remember when Lord of the Rings were coming out, right? And a lot of us started talking, particularly after the first two aired and just before Return of the King came out. A lot of us thought, well, this is going to open up a new golden era of the sword and sandal movie. We're going to enter into an age of sword and sandal movies. But it never happened. It never happened. And because it actually had the opposite effect, where the Lord of the Rings films were so good and so successful, nobody wanted to make a movie that was going to be compared to it. And we were all sitting there thinking, these movies, because I love sword and sandal movies. I'm a Dungeons and Dragons player. Of course I do. But I love sword and sandal movies. So I really thought that was going to do it, but it had the opposite. So I really don't think so. I don't think, whether good or bad, I don't think this movie is going to open up a new era of dino movies. But who knows? Could be wrong. All right, what's next?
All right, Jim 1 writes, the MCU could end up like the WWE that had massive mainstream popularity in the late 90s, but some of the casual audience check out over time.
Yeah, but you're also talking about, it's an apples to spaceships comparison, because WWE also fundamentally changed, right? It fundamentally changed through, like, you went from your Attitude Era, and then you got into a family-friendly era, and then, certain megastars come and go. And it's just not comparable. It's a totally different thing.
Have the advantage of like going with the times that we're in and adapting to that. Where
production costs on WWE do not compare to Marvel's production costs. So if you lose your casual viewers, you're done.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't think it's really comparable at this point, but you never know. All right, what's next?
All right, Justin D writes, had a dream. Abby played by Jodie Comer, Dina played by Jessica Henwick, adult Ellie played by Elle Fanning. It was a good dream.
I mean, look, again, you know me. I don't like to get into the X actor and X role.
He had one of those X actor dreams.
But all of those are great talents. Those are all great talents you listed. I still think we're going to see Jodie's name attached to a particular upcoming Marvel project, but again, we'll wait and see. But I definitely like all the names you listed. All right, what's next?
All right, Mark Newman writes, love that Mondo Man of Steel poster. Have you? You have in the office. Wish they still sold those. I missed out on that one. You can get it on eBay.
Yeah, it's back there behind Ray. Can you see it in Ray's shot? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it. I love that poster.
That is a dope poster.
By the way, the Spider-Man one beside it is also fantastic.
Those are both Mondo.
You don't like the Spider-Man one?
No, it's too confusing for me. But I do. Every day I walk in, I tell Jonathan, "Hey, when we get out of the studio, I'll take the RoboCop one out there."
Oh, you're gonna take my Mondo RoboCop?
I'll watch it for him for a couple years.
Okay.
Because I really like that RoboCop poster he brought in.
Mondo makes dope posters.
Ray,
you can get it on eBay,
always
though.
Looking forward to the end of my business. Hey, when
Always
this thing
looking
finally
forward to
crashes
free
and burns, I want to take that poster.
The free stuff, baby.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, DC Kogami writes, Gunn is the ultimate tease in the DC announcement, or with the DC announcement.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing, though. He made one comment, and look, I read somebody the other day just, man, I just wish Gunn would shut up. He's just talking too much. It's like, he's actually not saying anything. He has responded to a couple of people on Twitter who've asked him specific questions. He's given short little answers. It's the rest of us that then take those and make a big deal out of them. And I make no apologies for that. Of course we should. But I mean, he's actually not really saying all that much right now. We'll see. We're just getting excited. All right, what's next?
All right. A. Marcellus writes, John, we haven't seen you play a fantasy game for a while. Would you consider taking a crack at Elden Ring or one of the new Final Fantasy games this year?
Elden Ring, no. I just had, Ryan told me, because look, I get frustrated with console video games real easy. Like, if I'm trying to play a console game, if I'm not picking it up in the first 2 minutes, I'm like, I'm over it. And my buddy Ryan, who really likes Elden Ring, he said, oh yeah, John, it's not for you.
Oh yeah.
You won't like it. It's really hard. It is not for you.
We will be playing sort of a fantasy game pretty soon.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to bring to everyone, like, our next, not today's playing chat, or sometime soon, we're going to go back and play Return of the King.
It is so
4-player action.
I actually thought you were bringing it in today. I got all
I
excited.
thought it was coming in the mail yesterday, but it's coming today in the mail, and you won't be here tomorrow, so maybe
Monday.
next week.
Well, tomorrow's
Monday
not
next.
on.
We'll give it a crack.
Tomorrow's GoldenEye, Ray.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow is GoldenEye.
All right, what's next?
Not the slider. All right. Breeze Von Ease writes, I don't know if you guys have discussed it yet, but thoughts on Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid It trailer?
Okay. This is the new Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know what the hell that is. I get it. Oh, it's a brilliant. It's the art. Oh, okay. That's great. If it worked for you, fantastic. It's Joaquin Phoenix, so I'm clearly going to watch it regardless. But I thought the trailer personally was an opium-induced fever dream. I don't understand what the fuck that was supposed to be. So the movie is probably going to be awesome because Joaquin Phoenix has his choice of whatever project he wants to be in. So I'm going to guess that it's probably a pretty damn good movie. But the trailer I thought was nonsense.
I mean, a lot of people weren't big on his Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I loved it personally, but so you never know.
Which one was that? Was that her?
No, Her was great.
Her was great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, he did a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I can't remember. It was like it took place in the 60s or 70s. Remember?
Shit. Which one was that called again?
I can't remember.
All right. I'm sure people in the live chat will let us know. All right. What's next?
All right. Next we've
The
got
Master.
Oh,
With Philip Seymour Hoffman.
well, no,
right?
not The Master. That was really good too. There's another one, but Taylor will look it up. Alex Mata
Inherent
writes,
Vice.
Yes.
Inherent Vice. That's the one. Yeah.
All right. I think Ant-Man has what Doctor Strange was going for. Going into the sequel, it has the last two Avengers films where both were major players, and the online buzz and speculation and word of mouth is good.
Well,
if good, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, so far we haven't really heard a lot. So I showed something to Rob. I got sent. I'm tempted if I should bring this up on screen or not.
No, don't.
I got sent a couple of images actually, that literally put my jaw in my lap. I'm like, wait, what? Like, it was so jaw in my lap. This was from Ant-Man, Quantumania. That so put my jaw in my lap. I'm like, I was instantly dubious about its validity, about it being real. And I went ahead and showed it to Rob. I'm like, I mean, I don't know if this thing's real or not. I'm not willing to put money on it that it is real. Although we've gotten a lot of very, very, very real images sent to us, but it's just, I'm just going to say it involved somebody that we do not see in any of the Ant-Man marketing. And it just put my jaw in again, maybe before the movie comes out, I'll let people know. Maybe once I get some clarification about the validity of the image, but it, yeah, for now, I'll not do the spoiler thing. So, all right, what's next?
All right, that's all.
Oh, and guys, that'll do it for This Is Tough. This is like, it's been a while since I did a quote unquote solo John Campea Show. Of course, we got the guys behind the table there. That'll do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to join us a little bit later. Me, Rob, the guys, we're going to be here probably doing a playing chat in there in the other room. I'm not quite sure what we'll be playing yet, but we'll figure that out between now and then. Hope you guys will join us for that. And of course, make sure you come back and join us for the John Campea Show tomorrow. That will be without John Campea, but Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett, plus the guys will all be here to guide you guys through in the most gentle and loving of ways. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for us here today. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.